Hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This is Viperstrike 95. Happy Sunday to you guys. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all having a great weekend. And we are back with another leg of our Around the World trip. This is day 36 of our Around the World trip. And we are going to be here in Peru, Ayachucho, Peru. We're back in Peru once again. This will be our second and final full flight in Peru. So I hope everyone's doing well here. I hope that you're all doing great. So yeah, guys, this will be our second and last leg here in Peru, as we're going to be traveling up to all the way into Lima and all. So before we get started, I want to say hello to everyone in the chat and stuff. We have my mod Super Typhon, he's lurking, and it's also great to see all the lurkers in chat as well. So today's going to be pretty cool flight plan. We'll be departing here from Ayachucho very shortly. So we'll depart from Ayachucho. We'll first head up and we'll make our way over to the Pacific coast of Peru. And we'll check out the capital city of Chile. We'll be visiting Lima, which is the capital largest city in Peru. And we'll make our landing here at Jorge Chavez International Airport in Lima. Then from there, we'll head back up the mountains once again, and we'll make our way to our second stop here at Huaraz Airport, Sierra Pava Hotel Zulu. We'll be checking out Huascan National Park. And then finally, from there, we'll head back to the Pacific coast and visit Peru's third largest city at Trujillo. And we'll be checking out Peru's third largest city. So that is going to be the flight plan for today. Pretty simple flight. So of course, the plane you guys see here in front of us, it is the Cessna 414 Chancellor from Fly Somewhere. I decided this would be my first time taking it on our journey. But the Cessna 414 Chancellor, by the way, was first developed all the way back in 1968 over to 1985. Over 1,000 have been built. It's developed from the Cessna 401-421 models of the Cessnas. It was a pressurized version of their twin-engine aircraft. This bad boy is powered by two Continental flat-six turbocharged piston engines with 310 horsepower each. They can cruise up to 183 knots. So their max could go to 235, and they have a range of over 1,000 nautical miles. It has a service ceiling of 30,000 feet, which is just ridiculously impressive. It's a very powerful, very effective plane, and the perfect kind of plane we want to take for today's flight in Peru. So, before we get started, I want to turn this plane on. So, it's been a while since I turned on this plane. Let's see if I can. It's been a while since I used this plane, so it's gonna take me a second to see. Oh, like I said. Hang on. I there we go. There we go. Got a lot of stuff in there. So. And you can also change the mounting thing wherever you want to mount this thing. That's going to be, hey, good to see you. Where are we flying to today? Good to see you, Philly. We're flying Peru today. So our route for today is going to be first from Ayacucho to Lima, then Lima to Huaraz. We're going to go climb back up the mountains, and then we're going to then head back to the coast to visit Peru's third most populous city at Trujillo. Should be a nice flight. Obviously, the Chancellor's a great plane for this kind of flight, for obvious reasons. The Chancellor's a ready-made plane for this flight. So, for the first leg of the flight, our altitude is going to be 18,000 feet. So, there you go. But we're actually going to taxi all the way to the end of the runway because this is nearly 9,000 feet above sea level, so we need as much altitude as we need as much runway. Especially for an airport such as this. Yeah, the good almighty Chancellor. Very capable plane. So we're gonna head up to Lima. So we're gonna climb 18,000 feet, which is gonna be pretty high altitude. The good thing about the Cessna Chancellor is I'm gonna reduce the mixture just a little bit. We are in higher altitudes, so we're gonna need to lower the mixture slightly. The trim. Yeah, beautiful scenery out here in Peru. Okay, we are finally off. Here we go. Yeah, exactly. This is the turbocharged plane. The altitude should be handled here, no problem. But still, as a precaution, though, take as much runway as we need. Like, it's not a bush plane, so. 70, 80. 89. I went to 100 knots so I can get. And we're off. Beautiful. Okay. Chancellor's a beast. She's very capable for this kind of fun. Which makes her perfect for this flight. But man, look at the city, man. We're that high up in the ground. I'm gonna go ahead and circle. Don't want to stay in the RPM stuff for too long. But we're gonna need that to. I'm gonna arm the altitude. Like I said, it's been a while since I've last flown the Chancellor. It's been a long time since I've last flown this Chancellor. So. We're going to climb up to 18,500 feet for leg number 1. And we're going to be heading this direction for 184 nautical miles. So this will be about an hour flight. But knowing the Chancellor, this thing can get really pretty. So. Yeah, guys, I hope you all had a good weekend so far. There hasn't been too many news. I know FS Expo is going to come next week, which sadly I can't attend. But I think I got the plans for next week's streams going on. But there's definitely some pretty big releases and stuff and information. Obviously, yesterday, 2 days ago, we had the Cub, which was released, and apparently I heard it's actually really good for a Cub. For a Pirate Cub, I heard it's really good. But the big news is going to be that A2A Simulations is going to release their Aerostar 600 later this year. So it's the next A2A plane, which is going to be really nice. And it looks really, really nice. Like I said, the good old Aerostar is going to come into the sim, which is really nice. So that's going to be really nice to have, is the good old Aerostar. Such a versatile. once we climb into cruise altitude, we'll talk about more of our notes for Peru. We're gonna cover the rest of the Peru notes today, and the reason for that is that's because tomorrow, not tomorrow, but next Friday and Sunday we'll be in Ecuador. So we'll be doing 2 streams in Ecuador. Those are going to be with different planes, of course, but we're going to check out Ecuador next week, and then the week after will be Colombia, and then the next one would be Panama. So, so let's go ahead and climb up to that. Yeah, the scenery here looks absolutely incredible today. The scenery looks amazing, as you can tell. We're getting even higher up into the scenery here. We're getting to we're about 17,000 feet. We'll be checking out the beautiful national parks here in Peru. There's a lot of really good ones here in the state, in the nation that we're visiting. Okay, we're back to 18. Okay, we're at 18,000 feet. We're about to hit 18,500. The altitude is armed, so we armed our altitude already to 18,500 feet. And I think we could go ahead and lower. There we go. Now the 18,500, we've armed our altitude, and now we're gonna let the plane just pick up speed. So. Also, I do want to let you guys know, if any of you guys are fathers out there in the community, I want to wish you all a happy Father's Day in the United States. Today in the United States is Father's Day, so thanks to all the fathers out there. So happy Father's Day to you guys. You're more than welcome, my dude. So we're gonna go ahead and talk a little bit about Peru for a bit, but mainly I want to discuss its geography. So Peru's geography is definitely really cool. Being on the western coast of South America, it lies wholly in the southern hemisphere. It shares land borders with Ecuador, Colombia, Brazil, Bolivia, and Chile, with the longest border being by far Brazil. Um, only 3% of Peru's land is arable, and less than 10% for permanent crops. However, pastoral land accounts for 21% of the land use in Peru. But there's a lot of really interesting things about Peru's geography. For one, it's separated to three regions that define Peruvian geography. In the west, you have the coast, which is narrow, largely arid plain except for valleys. Then, one of the thickest parts of the region to most of the region, around the central part of the region, is the Andean region, which is the mountainous region, which includes the Andean Plateau, as well as the highest peak of the country, the 22,000 feet Huascaran, which we will be visiting today. And to the east, you have the jungle region, which is a wide expanse of flat terrain covered by the Amazon rainforest. And you can find almost 60% of the country's area in the eastern half of the rainforest. Because you can find 60% of the area of Peru is rainforest. So pretty cool stuff. And the country has over 54 hydrographic basins. In the final two, most of them charge to the Pacific Ocean. The other two is to Lake Titicaca. In fact, a lot of people don't know this, but Peru is actually where you can find the Amazon River. It's actually, you can find the source of the Amazon rainforest in Peru. And most rivers also originate in the Andes as well in Peru. So pretty cool stuff about Peru's geography, but it's a very diverse geography between rainforest, the mountains of the Andes. So pretty cool stuff. Now, along with its geography, it's got to be Peru's climate. And again, even though it's located within the tropics, its combination of latitude, mountain ranges, topography variations, and two ocean currents give Peru a surprisingly wide range of climates. Due to its geography, Peru can be divided into three main climates. You have first the coastal region of Peru, which you see here in the west. That is arid desert, hot desert. It has mild temperatures, low precipitation, and high humidity, except for the wetter northern reaches. Then you have the mountain region, which covers almost a third, which is rains frequent summer, and temperature and humidity diminish with altitude up to the frozen peaks. And then the Peruvian Amazon, which is actually more than half of the territory of Peru, is heavy rainfall and high temperatures, except for the southernmost part. So you can see here the wide variation in temperatures. So you see the red, there is the desert. Then in some areas you might get temperate climates up around the between the mountain and the jungle, and then of course you have all tropical rainforest areas in. So the reason why we're flying over the Andes part of Peru and not over, let's say, to the eastern half of Peru is because a lot of the major cities and stuff are within the western half of Peru. That's why we're flying up to that part. So that covers the climate. And there's one last thing about within the geography section, and that's Peru's wildlife. And Peru is one of the most biodiverse countries on Earth. It's one of the mega diverse countries on Earth. It has over 20,000 species of plants and animals, and about a fourth of them are endemic to the country of Peru, including over 1,800 species of birds, 500 species of mammals, 300 species of reptiles, and over 1,000 species of freshwater fish. The mammals include the puma, jaguar, and spectacled bear. The Pacific holds a lot of different types of sea life, like sea bass, flounder, anchovies, tuna, crustaceans, and shellfish, and many sharks and whale species. It also has a very diverse flora from cacti, foggy, fog oses, the puna, and more. Tons of wildlife diversity in the country. Now, that red bird you see here is actually Peru's national bird, the Andean cock of the rock, or as a tunki by the Quechua language. It is actually part of the passerine family of birds, which are perching birds. Part of that group. They're well known for their dimorphism, as the males have a large disc-like crest and scarlet and brilliant orange plumage, while the female is much darker and browner. And gatherers of males compete for females, with each male displaying his colorful plumage, hoping to attract the females. And they often eat a diet of fruit with supplements of insects, amphibians, reptiles, and smaller mice, living all over the cloud forests of the Andes. But it's a beautiful bird. And it's the national animal. But there's all sorts of animal species living in Peru and stuff. But of course, there are tons of bird species. And you can find all sorts of for mammal species, of course, you can find the sloths. different primate species like tamarins and howler monkeys. You can actually find the Amazon manatee in the Amazon River. There's quite a few bat species, most notably the western mastiff bat. And of course, you can find all sorts of animals here, different carnivores, and more. But yeah, Peru has such diversity of wildlife. So that covers it for basically the geography section of our notes. Oh, pretty cool stuff. Let's see if anyone else is flying along with us. Oh, Kazaki Fire's with us. He's way back in the Corsair. I think he just got spawned in. Yeah, I think the Chancellor would be a good plan to take for today. I mean, it's made for the higher altitudes. Speaking of that, I think I did forget. No. We're at 200. We're at ground speed 211 knots as we're gonna make our way over through Lima. So pretty cool stuff as well. So one of my favorite things about Peru we visited so far, if you guys weren't there on Friday, we actually took off from La Paz. We got to visit Lake Titicaca a very impressive lake. One of the most impressive lakes I've visited in the world. Very, very impressive area. Then we went to Juliaca for our first stop, and we got to land there. Then we took off and visited Cusco, the historic capital of the Incan Empire, and it's one of the most important tourist destinations in all Peru. And then, of course, we checked out Machu Picchu. Absolutely incredible place to visit. And then we visit Ayacucho for our last stop. Now we're heading to Lima first. So I think I have a couple of plans for next. I think I have plans for the stream going to be on for next week, but I think next Wednesday is going to be it's probably going to be either a Lake Tahoe Vegas shuttle because of FS Expo. Because it's either going to be Tahoe Vegas. I know if it was Reno, but I had to do Tahoe Vegas since Tahoe's somehow our hub, or because of FS Expo, or I do Zurich to, or do something else Zurich. I could do Zurich to Venice, Zurich to Munich, or Zurich, or maybe Zurich to Nice. Or Zurich Nice would be really cool. Or Zurich Nice would work. Or Zurich Paris could be a thing too, but probably, but if I were to guess, I'd probably do. Or Zurich to Vienna could work too. I don't know that, but there's quite a few options with Zurich. It's either Tahoe or Zurich for the next one. Because for Tahoe, I guess I could do shuttle ops for Tahoe to Vegas, which would probably make the most sense, and that would be pretty scenic flight. So that's probably what's going to be next week, and then Friday and Sunday will be in Ecuador, for that. So, we'll be going from Trujillo to Guayaquil, on next Friday via a stop at Piura, which is a very old city here, one of the first cities settled in northern Peru by the Spanish, and then on Sunday, we'll go from Guayaquil to Quito, and it's actually, basically, it's going to be the reverse of what I did in my previous GA stream. As we go from Guayaquil, go up the mountain, and visit some of the cities in the Andes Valley of Ecuador. That is what we're going to be doing on next Sunday. And then once we get that, we only have one more South American country left to visit, and that is Colombia. That'll be our last South American nation, and then we'll be picking up the pieces with countries over the next couple of weeks as we check out Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Belize within quick succession. Before we're heading to Mexico, now Mexico is going to be the one that would definitely take a while. Before we might make our way back to the That's what we're going to be doing for next week. I think it's good. Because we haven't checked out Zurich in a bit, and if you guys don't know, Zurich is an absolutely beautiful airport. I love flying in Zurich. It's one of my favorites. But on the other hand, Tahoe would be pretty nice to have as well. Like, I haven't done much VA flying out of Tahoe. It's just my only gripe with Tahoe, why I don't fly out of that more, is if you take an airliner bigger than the 737-700, like a 74 or even 787-74 or even like the A310, you're gonna have troubles getting in and out of that airport, and that may be my only issue why I don't fly it more often. And also, we are having more to VATSIM, and I'm kind of worried about how would Lake Tahoe work with VATSIM, because it's not the most optimal for things like that. That's just my only problem with it. It's just mainly how I work with that. I may have to talk to Murph and see how that works. Yeah, but beautiful scenery here today. Beautiful scenery here today in Peru. Scenery is just outstanding in Peru today. What amazing scenery today. Incredible. Peru is handled so nicely in the sim. It's very nice. So guys, if you want to get to join my Discord, and if you haven't, do !Discord. Yeah. In terms of other news, I do want to talk about, beautiful day out here. Absolutely stunning. Yeah, imagine these mountains, and then you look left, and you notice the Pacific Ocean to our left. I mean, pretty crazy. It's just pretty crazy to see. Like, there's the Pacific Ocean right up here. There's the Pacific Ocean, and then you have all these mountains. Just crazy. Imagine people living up in this area. So, in terms of extreme points, so there are some pretty cool extreme points in Peru's geography. So, of course, the highest point is Huascaran, but believe it or not, there's actually the lowest point is actually negative 112 feet, the Sechura Desert. And you have the Bayobar Depression, which is actually the lowest point in all of the southern tropics. It's actually here in Peru. I want to see how far we are from Lima. Okay, we're about 90 nautical miles from Lima. So yeah, in terms of other stuff going on, for Firefly Air, it looks like I'm only 5,000 XP from Sean. So maybe later today, if I get a good enough duty schedule, I might surpass Sean Dale, take #1 on the leaderboard. I made the comeback. I'll probably make a comeback and successfully done it. Being gone for 14 days, and yet I still ended up being #1. So, beautiful stuff going on here. But one of the really cool things about Firefly Air is we're doing quite well. We have a VATSIM stats here as well for Firefly Air. So yeah, some of our MDs leading the VATSIM stuff. So quite a bit of really cool stuff. But so far, we're actually doing pretty good for our XP goal. We're about nearly 2.2 million. We're about 800,000 left to go in XP, which is pretty nice. So let's take a look. Let's see who. I think Kazaki Flower is flying with us. Well, yeah, he's right above us in the Corsair. Um, he's right above us. Pretty cool stuff. Yeah, I also had a lot of notes about Machu Picchu yesterday, but to be fair, when it's a historic place like Machu Picchu, you want to have information for it. Go ahead and change the altitude. Yep, we're going to go ahead and start descending down to Lima. It's going to be a pretty slow descent, but we're going to go ahead and start this. Yeah, 500 feet doesn't sound. Okay, that's a good descent. So let's go ahead and talk about Lima for a bit. Now, if you guys don't know about Lima, Lima, Peru is the largest and capital city in all Peru, and it was founded in 1535 as Ciudad de los Reyes, Spanish for the City of Kings, located in the valleys of the Chilo, Rimac, and Lurin rivers. It overlooks the Pacific Ocean and is considered to be the political, cultural, financial, and commercial center of Peru. It's categorized as a beta level tier city. Um, its population is around 10.092 million people, which makes it the second largest city in the Americas after Sao Paulo, Brazil, which is absolutely huge. It's a massive metropolitan area. Very cool place to visit. Lima was actually named by the natives in the region known by the name of Peru as Lima. It became the capital and most important city in the viceroyalty of Peru. Following the Peruvian War of Independence, it became the capital of the Republic of Peru ever since, and 1/3 of its population actually lives in its metropolitan area. It was even selected to host the 2019 Pan American Games, making it the largest sport event ever held in the country. But it's a really cool city, and it's got a lot of really proud traditions. It's got a rich culture and heritage, which makes sense. Peru is actually a really rich country when it comes to heritage and stuff. So it's not really that much of a surprise, honestly. Hey, good to see you, Kazaki. Nice to see you. Uh, have a fight day if you're not blessed with children yet. But today's Father's Day for my dad, so I gave him a pretty nice card and all that, and give him some stuff. So, but we're doing some fun in Peru. Beautiful landscapes here in this country. It's very very nice. And I felt like the Chancellor would be a nice point and a half for this type of flight. It goes fast. It has long range. So, one of the really cool things about it is its rich heritage. In fact, you can find the historic center of Lima too. It's got very well known for a lot of beaches, and it's a very important gastronomical capital thanks to its rich culinary traditions, unique architecture, tons of museums and stuff. But that's one of the really cool things about Lima is it's very rich building. There's also all sorts of landmarks. There are a ton of them, of course. However, the biggest landmark in the city is the Plaza de Armas, the historic center of Lima, which is actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, by the way, in 1988. Founded in 1535, and it's a very beautiful main square, one of the most beautiful ones in the entire country. It's very pretty, and there are tons of historic buildings, including the oldest bull ring in the Americas, the SPHO bull ring, which opened in 1766. There's also the Archbishop's Palace that was built in 1541 and it was rebuilt in 1924. The Basilica and Convent of St. Dominic from the 16th century. But there are a ton of iconic buildings all throughout the city and stuff. And it's definitely an area you really, really want to check out. But of course, the most well-known building is the Metropolitan Cathedral, built in 1535, one of the most famous buildings. Outside of that, you have the Convento di San Francisco, which was actually famous for its catacombs. They contained the bones of around 10,000 people when it was actually the first cemetery in the city. And then, of course, the Huaca Pocolana, which was built in adobe and clay bricks. This ancient pyramid was survived for over 1,000 years, and it was formed in 7 staggered platforms, making it one of the really cool landmarks here in all of the city. But yeah, there are a ton of really cool colonial architecture, and there's tons of colonial architecture all throughout the city that have a rich history. Really cool place to visit. Go ahead and I'm actually going to go down a little bit more. We are pretty much rapidly approaching the city. We're going. But man, the landscapes. Oh man, look at the landscape here. This is just absolutely breathtaking. I remember I did a stream in Peru way back. I think it was one of the first streams with the Twin Otter when that plane came out back when the Twin Otter came out. We started here in Lima. We made our way through Huaraz. We actually went through Vico. I think it was Sierra Papa Julia Charlie, and then we went to Sierra Papa Victor India. Then we went through Sierra Papa Hotel Zulu, and then it was Sierra Papa. I think it was Charlie Lima. Yeah, it was Sierra Papa Charlie Lima. No, wait. It was Sierra Papa Julia India. Yeah, that's what I did. And we flew over all the mountains and stuff into the rainforest. That was a pretty cool stream back in the old days. Yeah, imagine me remembering my old streams. Imagine that. So really. And of course, we have to talk about Lima's airport. And it's one of the most important hubs in all South America. And we're talking about Jorge Chavez International, Sierra Papa Juliet Charlie. It's the main international airport here in the country. It's the country's main airport serving Lima. In 2023, the airport served 22.8 million passengers. Historically, it was a hub for Fawcett, Peru, and Aeroperu, the former flag carrier, and now is a hub for many aviation companies, mainly Latin Peru. It was named after Peruvian aviator Jorge Chavez, who was well known for his aviation feats in Peru. In 2022, it became one of the most important airport hubs globally. It became one of the most it became one of the 50 most important air hubs worldwide. In 2023, a new second lane strip and new control tower came in operation. So they got a new runway, and by the end of this year, they're going to build a whole new passenger terminal, which will allow to increase people to and from other South American cities. Now, in the sim, we only have one runway, but in real life, there's actually 2 runways now, and they're going to get a whole new terminal for this airport, in addition to the other terminal we have. So it's going to be a very busy airport. But it has destinations all across the Americas and Europe. It's mainly a destination, for example, South American destinations like Buenos Aires, Medellin, Bogota, La Paz, Sao Paulo, Rio de Janeiro, and more. In North America, we have Mexico City, Montreal, Toronto, Miami, Atlanta. New York, and Houston. And then European destinations, mainly Madrid, Amsterdam, and Paris Charles de Gaulle are the main destinations for Lima in Europe. So yeah, that is going to be for Lima. So here it is, guys. The beautiful city of Lima. Yeah, this city is Lima is absolutely huge. It's a huge city. That's Hey, We Fly Daily, good to see ya. We're actually here in one of the largest cities in the Americas, Lima. Absolutely huge city. Get this, over one-third of people in Peru live in Lima. So, big major city of Lima. Very, very impressive, South Americas. The airport is not far from where we're at. So we're going to go ahead and prepare for our first landing of the day. We're going to go ahead and disable our autopilot. And disable it. Like Lima Bean? No, Lima. It's Lima. Lima, Peru. Not Lima, Peru. It's Lima. Big major city. According to my travel website, they do have a couple of excursion stuff I can do if I ever did a trip down there. They got the best of Lima, a Lima highlights, a city drive and Indian market, a Lima through time, easy Lima. And then a very expensive thing. You could do a trip to Machu Picchu for $3,000. For 72 hours, you get to take a trip to Machu Picchu. Yeah, Lima, one of the really great cities in South America. There are many of them. Sorry, that was a bad dad joke. No worries. Dad joke for Father's Day. Here you go. Yeah, if you ever get a chance to fly a lot in South America, good chances you're going to be visiting Lima. Yeah, happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. Absolutely. Just stop here. We'll stop here for just a little bit. We'll be prepared for leg number 2 here. What a cool spot. So yeah, Lima, definitely a really cool major airport. So you're definitely gonna, and like I said, this airport's gonna get a lot bigger. They're gonna have a whole new terminal and a whole new runway set in this area. So I think there's a new I think there's now a new one from Low End PC Studios has a Lima airport. So if you guys want to join on in, we have exclamation point route. Oh, nice. Your brother lives in Chile, Peru. Cool. Beautiful areas. Chile and Peru are both absolutely stunning areas to visit. The mountain stuff, though, you gotta get used to the altitude. So we're just gonna stay here for just a little bit. If you guys want to join on in, if you don't have the Chancellor, you could take the DA-62 or the Beechcraft Baron, or you could take a turboprop like a TBM, King Air. The next one's gonna be 353. Okay. Go ahead and get back into the air. Go ahead and get back to the taxiway, and we'll be departing for our next leg over to Huraz Airport. The next leg is going to be shorter. It's going to only be 152 nautical miles. I'm going to go ahead and take off. This one, we're going to be climbing up to, let's see, 17,000 feet. So that, and we're going to arm. We're going to go right 900 feet above sea level. Thankfully, this one's going to be much shorter, but yeah, I hope you guys are liking this stream. If you guys are liking this and enjoying this sort of content, I know I can be quite chill. So I'm sorry if I'm not super excited. I try to keep myself pretty chill and laid back a bit. So yeah, the landscape here is absolutely gorgeous. So I do want to talk a little bit about Peru's economy for a bit as we are climbing up to the impressive 17,000 feet. So Peru economically is actually a pretty substantial economy. It's actually the 48th largest economy in the world, and it's an upper middle income level. It's one of the world's as of 2011, it's been one of the world's fastest growing economies thanks to its economic boom in the 2000s. It has grown, steady improvement over the past 25 years in human development. Mainly its tied exports, but nowadays it's grown much more widely over the past decades. Mainly the big services account for over half of the GDP in Peru. However, nowadays it's followed by manufacturing, extractive industries, and taxes grow to become a major part in Peru's economy. As well. Mainly, its main exports for Peru include copper, gold, zinc, and textiles, with its trading partners being the U.S., China, Brazil, and one of its neighbors, Chile. Um, Now, of course, it's gone through quite a bit of stuff over the past decades, but now it's been going up. And now let's talk about some of the different sectors in Peru's economy. But one of the big ones is mining, which represents 60% of its exports is mining. The country is among the top producers include of copper, silver, and zinc. It's also the eighth largest producer of gold, the third largest in lead, the fourth largest in tin, the fifth largest in boron, and the fourth largest producer of molybdenum in the world, along with lots of gas and oil. So it's actually going to benefit from mining, and it's going to be very competitive towards it as well. And one of the big sources of gold mines is the Yanacocha mine, which is the largest gold mine in South America and the world's second largest one in the mine. Over 3 million ounces of gold were produced in 2005. So mining is a big deal here in Peru. So very big deal has been the mining industry. Very big deal here. Then is agriculture. Now, Peru is the world's largest producer of quinoa and maca, as well as one of the largest producers of avocado, blueberries, artichoke, and asparagus. One of the 10 largest producers of coffee and cocoa, and one of the 15 largest producers with potato and pineapple, as well as substantial production of grape, sugarcane, rice, banana, maize, and cassava, making it a very diverse in agriculture. So if you guys don't know what quinoa is, if you guys aren't aware of what it is, quinoa is a flowering plant in the Amaranth family, and it's mainly been grown for its edible seeds, which are rich in protein, dietary fiber, B vitamins, and dietary materials greater than any normal grain. It's not really grass, but rather it's actually botanically related to spinach. It was first used in livestock about 5,200 to 7,000 years ago, and for humans around past 4,000 years. So it's mainly the seeds that are produced to be eaten. One of the benefits of eating quinoa instead of normal granola is it's gluten-free. And combined with the fact that you have lots of proteins and micronutrients, but quinoa is often used as a crop for their spaceflight by NASA. It's also used for medicinal uses along with other antimicrobial and anti-cancer properties. But it's got a long history of being eaten by people, but quinoa is a big deal here as well. In addition to that, there's also maca as well, which is Peruvian ginseng. Um, it's mainly cooked as a root vegetable. It's only been rediscovered recently as a crop. and mainly used for its effects in fertility and stuff, making it quite popular. So, however, despite all this agricultural production, um, Peru actually has a lot of food insecurity, as according to the Agriculture Organization, 10 million people are relatively food insecure. More than 20% are severely insecure. And it's a great paradox considering the country has a lot of food for its population, and it's one of the net producers of food. And a lot of it's due to the fact of its high social inequality and low wages, being among the lowest in South America. So, pretty big deal when it talks about the agriculture stuff of Peru. Yeah. We're still climbing to our climbing altitude of 17,000 feet. We're still not too far away from getting that completed. But yeah, the scenery here is just insane. The scenery here is amazing. Peru. I mean, we're blessed with such great scenery in this sim. There's incredible scenery here. Incredible scenery and stuff. So we're going to climb back to 17,000 feet. We're about 15,000 feet. We don't have that much far left to go. Pretty insane stuff. We're climbing up pretty quickly at 17,000 feet. can lower the RPM a bit. So, so now we're at cruising altitude here today. We'll be cruising for this leg. But man, the scenery here is insane here in Peru. So there we go. We're gonna be here's Kazaki Flyer with us. He's in the F4U Corsair, I believe. But yeah, I think I decided for next week I might want to do. The question is, I want to do a shuttle flight next week again. I really enjoy doing these shuttle ops because they're usually pretty short. You know, and I do like only 2 flights, so maybe I could do a third one as well, depending on what you guys want to do. So if I did, for example, if I did Zurich, I might do Zurich over to Munich, Zurich to Munich, or Zurich to Munich, do those 2 legs, and then Zurich over to Geneva, or Zurich over to Luxembourg or something like that. Or I could do Zurich to Frankfurt. That would probably be a pretty good idea. Get to fly to one of the big airport, Frankfurt. But yeah, there's a lot of options for Wednesday out of Zurich. That's one of the nice things about Zurich is there's tons of interesting locations you can get to really easily. Munich, Frankfurt, Stuttgart, Paris, Luxembourg, Brussels, Marseille, Nice, Milan, Turin, Venice, Salzburg. I mean, even Innsbruck is an option. Even Innsbruck might be an option. But I wonder how that works. like I said, there's. Or I could do something out of Bristol. I know I already did a shell service with Bristol, which was quite nice, but maybe I could do something else with Bristol. Bristol Paris would be an interesting choice. Maybe a longer flight from Bristol to Ibiza, party capital. Yeah, I think I found a plan. So depends on what we do. So I think because of FX Expo happening next week and stuff. Let me see it with FX Expo 2024 Flight Sim Expo. That's gonna be it's gonna be starting June 23rd. So I guess I could, since it's gonna happen next week and stuff, I might do Tahoe Vegas shuttle. That's probably what I'm gonna do since. I know we did a Reno Vegas trip a while back, but that was with a stop at Fresno. And that was in the DC-6. But now we're gonna do it with the airliners, and we're gonna do it out of Tahoe. So should be an interesting route. And it wouldn't be too far of a route at all. It's just the only problem with Lake Tahoe is it's a little small. Like, it's a beautiful airport, and for most types of flying, I think Tahoe is really good at that. It's just not really great for the larger cargo stuff, which I like to fly cargo planes. So we're going to talk a little bit more. So we'll go over more of our notes. So let's talk about transportation in Peru, because this is quite important. Peru has quite a few things about transportation to keep an eye on. First is its road network, which consists of over 175,000 kilometers of highway, with 29,000 of them being paved highways. And some that stand out include the Pan American Highway and the Interoceanic Highway. The Interoceanic Highway, by the way, connects Peru and Brazil between two countries, between the Atlantic and Pacific. It has a small railway network, only 1,200 miles of runways. Railways, though, it used to be a bigger deal, but now nowadays. And then in terms of aviation transport, there are three major international airports in here. Lima, which is by far the busiest. you have Cusco, which we visited on Friday, and then Arequipa, which serves Brazil's second largest city, which is SPQU. So those are some pretty important transportation stuff in airports. And then finally, in terms of shipping ports, they have ones in Callao, which is right next to Lima, Ilo in southern Peru, and Matarani, which is also the southern coast. And Callao is the largest one in Peru, and once they build a new port project in north of Lima, it'll be the new largest one in Latin America. So pretty important stuff with transportation. And then in terms of energy, it has shown a lot of improvements over the recent years. The number of homes with electric lighting grew from 82% to 92% between 2017 and 2016. And a lot of their electric generation is divided between thermal and hydroelectric energy sources. And most of the productions come from hydroelectric and thermoelectric plants. It also has 34th largest in hydropower in the world as well. So pretty important stuff for energy, but that's just what I want to cover for this leg. The last leg will mainly cover about Peru's culture, which will be covered in the last leg of the flight. Sorry, just woke up early this morning, just trying to prepare for this thing. Sorry. Hey, good to see. Oh, nice. All the Huey's Gamers 21st. That's gonna be nice. For all the chopper pilots in here, guys. I mean, I'm kind of jealous of your helicopter pilots because you guys are getting some really, really nice choppers in the sim. I mean, there's actually a lot of really good ones out in the sim. The Ayoettes, which is Talok's previous plane. But there's also, but there's tons of ones. High Performance Group has their own helicopter stuff. There's some really great choppers in here as well. I mean, there's some really good ones in the sim. There's some really interesting ones. So Cohen Simulations is coming out with a lot of really good ones, a lot of really good choppers. You got the SPHO-47 Chinook. Yeah, I mean there are some really good ones coming out ever since they get the stuff. It's really been pretty good for the chopper guys. You guys got some really good options. Hmm. Business. Well, after this, it's going to be a somewhat short second leg, and it would be a pretty short. It'd be the shortest leg of the trip. Would be the last leg, and that one will need to be climbed. It's again at 17,000 feet, so. We're getting very, very close. Hmm. Yeah, beautiful area here today. I mean, this scenery is just. I mean, we've had some great scenery over the past couple streams, if you noticed. Like, ever since we got to Chile, we've had some of the best scenery of this entire adventure so far. We went through Patagonia. That was amazing. Puerto Montt and all that was very nice. Then into Central Valley, Chile, up to the desert of La Serena, Antofagasta, then the Andean Plateau with Uyumi and the Salt Flats. Then we went through more of the Andes de La Paz, and of course, that. Like, it might be some of the most scenic stretches of the entire, at least in the Western Hemisphere, of course. So we're gonna check out Huaraz, but before we do, I want to talk about one of the most interesting peaks in Peru. This is Huascar, Huascaran, or Huascaran. Huascaran is the tallest peak in all of Peru, which is at 22,205 feet, or 6,700 meters. It's the highest point in Peru, the northern Andes, in all of Europe's tropics. It's the fourth highest mountain in South America, behind Aconcagua, Ojos de Salado, which is right on the Argentine-Chile border, and Monte Pisces, which is in just north of Aconcagua. Until the 20th century, the mountain lacked a single commonly accepted name, but it was rather known by different names in the towns and villages, though the recorded notion of this came in 1850. It was mainly given the name for the Quechua word for rope. And apparently there's a myth associated with the mountain, that he was actually a nobleman who lived in a certain place. Well, Huandoy, which is the mountain right next to it, is within the second tallest peak. Lived in the town very close, and the man was in love with a girl. However, the father was found out he was in love with a little woman, so he asked the sun god. However, that never really worked. There are two distinct summits, the higher one being the south one, while the north one is a little shorter. And it's a popular location for trekking and mountaineering, and apparently is normally climbed from the village of Musho to the west. And at a height that separates the two summits known as La Gargancha. And the ascent normally takes 5 to 7 days to climb up the mountain. And the first person to reach it was a joint German-Austrian expedition in 1932. So pretty poor little mountain, and it's part of its own national park as well. And it's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site. In 1985, it's actually a UNESCO World Heritage Site, this national park is, featuring a unique biodiversity, including the plant Queen of the Andes, as well as animals like the spectacled bear, condors, vicuñas, which is one of the camelids, and taricas, which is the North Andean deer. It's about 150 kilometers long north to south and 25 kilometers in width. It's a beautiful national park. And some of the unique animals and stuff live around this area too. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's a very popular hiking and mountaineer spot. And then of course the city of Huaraz, the capital of its own region, the state of Ancash. Its population is around 118,000 people. It's the 22nd largest city in Peru. It is the main financial trade center of the region and the main tourist destination of the region. It's a popular destination for winter sports and adventure. Many of them come to the national park of the popular national park of Huascaran National Park. Pretty cool areas, and mainly the big thing is been farming, commerce, and tourism is what builds the. And finally, the last thing is the airport, which is Comandante Airport. It does not receive large aircraft due to all the terrain, and it currently is the main airport center in the region. This year, they're going to do flights from here to Lima, starting this year. So that concludes the second leg of the trip. Let's go ahead and prepare. Yeah, there it is, the national park. Absolutely gorgeous, guys. This should be a nice landing. Look at that. Look at the mountain. That is wicked. Right around the valley. That is wicked mountain. If I ever see one. Just incredible scenery. Sorry about taking. Right here is Huascar, right? Rakasran is right in front of us. What a beautiful peak. I mean, that's just a beautiful, beautiful peak. What a beautiful part of the world. Beautiful city. What a beautiful part of it. Just incredible landscape, guys. I mean, this. But yeah, I hope they do it well. I mean, I think the model. I hope they do the modeling for this area too, like Peru and all that. I mean, imagine what the new scenery is gonna look like for some of these areas, man. I mean, South America is already some of the nicer areas in the world to fly. Imagine this. I'm gonna go ahead and descend down to. I'm gonna go ahead on our altitude. I'm gonna go ahead and go down to 13,000 feet. Go ahead and arm. I'm gonna go ahead and descend. Yeah, this is the perfect plane to take for this type of journey. Perfect type of plane for this type of flying. look at the peaks, man. This is just... Oh, man. And there's hurrahs, by the way. That is... Okay, I'm going to go ahead and turn off the autopilot. And we're going to go ahead and prepare for the landing here at the airport. This is going to be a little tricky landing. It's going to be a fun little landing. Yeah, what an absolutely gorgeous airport to land in. I mean, this would be a fun airport to play. Oh, Jesus, what an approach. Yeah, I could probably try this one. I wonder what it would look like. I do want you to note there is no, distant stars of this airport according to the little nav map. Yeah, that's the reason why I picked this airport, is I remember landing here before. Would be a real challenge, so you have to take something a little. Oh, oh. I do. A little on the rougher side. I was hoping not to have any rough lanes here today, but man, we're gonna stop here for a little bit if you guys want to catch on up. This is our second stop of the day, and I mean, yeah, this airport. I mean, this kind of speaks for itself. And that really speaks for itself. What an absolutely beautiful airport. I mean, with the beautiful mountain. Just absolutely gorgeous. We got one last flight left to go. Mm. Yeah, I need to try this as well. So let's go ahead and prepare for the final leg of the trip. Go ahead and get ready for the last leg. For today's flight, and it's going to be at 314 degrees. Oh, live weather, snow here. Not ever. It's kind of spotty. Ah, I gotcha. Got one final leg. Let's go ahead and get the final leg set up. I went ahead and set the altitude for 17,000 feet. So we're going to head back up to there. We're going to take. Yeah, absolute gorgeous scenery here today, guys. Breathtaking. Altitude armed. Just insane peaks, guys. I mean, this is just. Oh man, this scenery is just incredible. One, two, three, four. Absolutely gorgeous area today. Oh my. Yeah, we're gonna climb up to 17,000 feet for the last leg of the trip. So let's go ahead and complete the last slides of Peru for a bit. Let's talk about Peru's culture, which is insanely rich with Iberian and Indian traditions, as well as other groups. And a lot of these traditions date back to the pre-Incan cultures, with elaborate pottery, textiles, and jewelry. And then the Incas maintained these crafts and made architectural achievements, including Machu Picchu. And then colonial art, or the Baroque art, dominated much of colonial art. And one of the big parts of Peru's culture has been its visual arts, and has a rich visual art history dating back to even the pre-Columbian time. Featuring many different types of turquoise and Crescio Chola inlays, to religious architecture like the Huaca de Luna. And the Inca civilization had a lot of its own artwork and stuff in places like SPHO-SPJC-SPHZ-SPRU and more. However, then you have the colonial art brought in by the Spanish with their own colonial art and influences, with mainly the Baroque style have dominated colonial art. Beautiful stuff, lots of tradition here in the arts. And then we have to talk about Peru's literature. So Peru is a very strong literature, and it dates back to even, it has very diverse history, just like its art, its literature is very diverse. Many of its traditions start with the pre-Columbian civilizations with their rich oral traditions. Then, when Spaniards introduced writing in the 16th century, colonial literature expression include the chronicles of religious literature. And once independence of Peru happened, the most common literary genres include pastorum, which is referred to mannerisms in the Hispanic scene, and Romanticism, exemplified by the word of Ricardo Palma. In the 20th century, the indigenismo movement, led by writers like Ciro Aguirre and Jose Maria Aguinaldo, has led the indigenous movement in their literature. And modern literature has been part of the Latin America boom. However, I think for many of you guys probably know Peru has a very diverse cuisine. In fact, one American food critic says that Peruvian cuisine is one of the world's most important, due to the fact it has a major example of fusion cuisine due to its long multicultural history. And Peruvian cuisine is basically the practices of the local and practice and ingredients, include influences from indigenous populations and cuisines brought from Europe, Asia, and Africa. Without familiar ingredients from their home country, immigrants modified their traditional cuisines by using ingredients available in Peru. The big four staples of Peruvian cuisine are corn, potatoes, and other tubers, like mainly tubers, which is the amaranths and legumes. So staples brought from the Spanish include rice, wheat, and meats. Many traditional foods have increased popularity in recent decades, revival of interest in native Peruvian foods and techniques. And one of those was Chef Gaston Acurio, who brought the raising awareness of local ingredients. And the most important ingredient in all Peruvian cuisine is the potato. And no joke, Peru has the widest variety of potatoes in the entire world. No, seriously. Over 99% of all cultivated potatoes worldwide are descendant of a single subspecies of the potato, Solanium tuberosum. And there are Peru has all the potato diversity. And there's all sorts of potato, of the potatoes, of course. But there's all sorts of other crops. There's all sorts of different tubers and stuff. They're a big part of Peruvian cuisine, but also peppers, maize, and tomatoes. But there's also a wide variety of different regional differences. In the coastal areas, there's a lot more seafood, um, and and they're one of the world's producers of the protein fish meat. So as a result, there's tons of seafood stuff within the coast. And most famous dish that came from the coastal region is ceviche, which is marinated raw fish, garnished with herbs, served as an appetizer, and it's the flagship dish of the coastal cuisine in Peru. It consists of chili peppers, onions, and juices from an aromatic lime. And it's a very popular dish. Apparently, many Peruvians believe it's like an aphrodisiac and hangover cure. The ceviche has grown big time in popularity nowadays. But yeah, it's a big part of Peruvian cuisine. In terms of, there's also lots of other dishes like antichurros, which is made with beef heart, tamales, papa a la guancha, in more within the coastal region, but there's tons of food around the coastal area. Then if you get to the Andes region, you can actually find in the Andes, you can find all sorts of different interesting things. It's based on corn, potatoes, and tubers. Meat actually mainly comes from alpaca, and you guess it, you'll be surprised, but guinea pigs are also part of the menu, as well as imported sheep, cattle, and swine. And one of these is the pachamama, which is a distinct dish. The distinctive dish in the Andes is the pachamanca, which is cooked all over. It's made of a variety of meats, herbs, and variety of vegetables are slow cooked underground in the heated stones. Due to the tea's preparations, it's only made for celebrations and festivals, though it has seen more in recent memory. However, one of the most interesting meats, again, like I said, is cuy, or guinea pig. They actually serve guinea pigs in Peru as food. And sometimes some of them could even be fried. Yes, fried guinea pig. Often the women indigenous raise the guinea pigs and then they use them as meals. But the reason is because, well, guinea pigs came from but it's a delicacy for a lot of the people. In fact, Peruvians consume 65 million of them every year. Again, I know that sounds kind of weird, and a lot of people kind of creep out like in the West. But the first thing I knew about this was watching Andrew Zimmern's Bizarre Foods. That's how I knew about it. So, pretty cool stuff. Pretty interesting stuff. But there's also lots of alpaca and stuff as well. And then in the Amazon, it's mainly used for the products of the rainforest, like fish, like piranha and all that. Also, the cambu camu, which contains 4 times more vitamin C than the kiwi fruit. Juane is another dish with rice seasoned with turmeric and more. But there's tons of different dishes, but Peruvian cuisine is very important. And that's why Peru's got one of the world's best cuisine. So yeah, Peru, one of the world's best cuisines, and probably the best one most of you guys aren't ever going to hear about. Funnily enough. And then we have the Peruvian music. Has Indian, Spanish, and African roots. In pre-Columbian times, musical expressions varied widely, and mainly using the quena and tina were common instruments. Quena is basically the traditional flute, and the tina is a percussion instrument like a drum. When the Spaniards came, they brought in new instruments like the guitar and harp, which developed the crossbred instruments. mainly the charango, which is the main instrument of Peru. And basically, charango is a member of the lute family and was invented by musicians during the colonial times of the vihuela from Spain. Um, so definitely a pretty big part. And finally, for sports, Peru goes back to the colonial times, and football is the most popular sport and played in the country. And Peru's national team has participated in the World Cup 5 times. They've also been Copa America champs twice. Their greatest football player is Teofilo Cubillas, as the greatest player and one of the world's top 50 football players of all time, played from Peru. Other popular sports include volleyball, surfing, and karate. Are some of the other popular sports here in Peru. So that concludes Peru's sports. And then we have some pretty fun facts about Peru. Obviously, we know the Amazon River source is in Peru, mainly the Apurimac River, which originates from the glacial meltwater in the Andean peaks. Is the primary source. In the Mars salt mines, they still practice many of the same ways it did for the Incas by using terrence pools fed by a natural spring that contains high mineral content. And that mineral generates lost salt, and they farm it that way. Same way the Incas did, and then also the ancient Peruvians used to talk with knots called the quipus, which is color strings tied various knots of patterns, serves means communication, record keeping, and accounting. Different combinations can even represent different informations like numbers, dates, and potentially even narratives too. So that is some of the fun facts about Peru. So we only got a couple more sites left to go, and that is mainly with Trujillo, which is going to be our final stop in Peru. It's going to be our second to last destination in Peru we'll be visiting. So. I hope you guys enjoyed those slides. I put a lot of work and effort into these things. That's why I hope you guys enjoyed it. I put a lot of work and effort in these bad boys. We're just 62 nautical miles from our final stop. And I think we'll begin to start our descent very shortly. I think we're going to go ahead and prepare for the descent. Go ahead. And start descending. That works. Yeah, what a beautiful, guys. I mean, thank you guys so much for joining with me today. It's been a great flight. But yeah, guys, I'll post you next week's flights, but I think I know what we're going to be doing. Beautiful scenery here as well. So let's go ahead and deal with our final slides of Peru for a bit. This is Trujillo, Peru. Now if you guys don't know about Trujillo, Peru, this is the third most populous city in all Peru. Located in the banks of the Mochas River, it was the site of a great prehistoric cultures before the Inca conquest. Trujillo gained independence from Spain in 1820. And it's the birthplace of the judiciary of Peru. And it's also known as the City of Everlasting Spring and the capital of the Marinera. which is a partner dance in Peru, as well as the cradle of the Peruvian Pasa horse. In the capital of culture in Peru, thanks to its rich cultural heritage. It's also close to two major archaeological sites, Chan Chan, the largest adobe city in the ancient world, and the temples of the Sun of the Moon, which is the largest Aboid pyramid in Peru. So, pretty cool stuff. This city is very, very rich. So, very important stuff. Very cool coastal city, and very important one for as well. And since 2011, it's developed its own sustainable city project, and it has a rich colonial and religious architecture as well. So, in terms of its landmarks, there's quite a few notable landmarks here in the city, but most notably the Cathedral of Trujillo, built in 1647 and 1666. With its colonial paintings and decorations, it's worth visiting. Then you have Chan Chan and its museum dating back to 1300 AD, and apparently was one of the largest cities in the world at the time, and the largest in South America at the time. About 60,000 people lived there, which is a lot for an older city back in the day, especially one made of adobe. And it's at a size of 28 square kilometers. And then finally, we have the pyramids of the moon and sun, or the Huacas, Dia Sun, Dia Sol. Got my left tanks went out. And and these pyramids were composed of several overlapping temples in different time periods, and they found a tomb with more than 40 warriors in the temple. But they were mainly used for religious traditions. And our last airport is Capitan FAP Carlos Martinez de Pinelos International Airport, the main airport for the city, and it's the main air hub of northern Peru. Sierra Papa Romeo uniform. Yeah, the reason why I'm going a little slower than I probably should is because one of my engines is. So if you wonder why it's taking me a little long to get that engine thing, why I'm going a little slow, it's because, well, one of my engines came out. we're about to make our final. Thank you so much, Kazaki. I hope you enjoyed the flight. I really thank you so much for joining with me on my flights. We're about to visit Peru's third largest city. Mr. Hillo. Look at the scenery here, it's just stunning. Ah, nice. Thank you, Kazaki, for the pictures. Here it is. We'll just land here at 02 and we just call it a stream. wraps up today's flight, guys. That was a really nice flight. Almost 3 hours. Mm-hmm. That's it, everyone. Let's wrap up the stream. So that's it, everyone. Thank you all so much for today's stream. That was a stunning flight, guys. Absolutely fantastic. So, guys, we will be back on Wednesday. We'll be in, I believe we're going to be in Lake Tahoe on Wednesday. We're going to be, in honor of FS Expo, we're going to go ahead and do, we're going to be doing a Tahoe Vegas shuttle. So this should be a lot of fun, and we get to check out Las Vegas. We'll do some sunset flying at night. So guys, thank you all so much. We'll go ahead and set up the raid. Take care, everyone, and have a fantastic rest of your Sunday. I hope to see you in Lake Tahoe on Wednesday. Take care. Goodbye.